Hello, what up, my dear viewers? Welcome back to another video on the Animation YouTube channel, the only YouTube channel that is currently hosted by me. Now, technically, I already recorded this video yesterday, or at least I made another version of it yesterday, but it was not very good, so I'm remaking it right now in the hopes that I can make a better video. Today, we are going to talk about Netflix's newest series, Heart Arlo, which is based on the movie Arlo the Alligator Boy, which came out a few months ago. And basically in this video, I want to tell you the reasons why I heart Arlo and why I think you should too. So I'm going to strip back both the movie and the TV show, and we're gonna start from like on top, and we're gonna make our way towards the bottom. First of all, let's start with the visuals. The animation in both this show and the movie is astounding because in today's world, there's not a lot of high quality no, that's not what I want to say. Oh, I sound like an animation boomer. What I mean to say is that there's a lot of work that is very obviously shown that went into this show. Not exactly sure as of now what animation program was used to animate both the movie and the show, but what I can say is that, but at least like visually, it looks very frame by frame. The truth is, I'm not sure if there was any tweening that was done, which is very likely. Most animation today uses tweening, and it's not like tweened animation is a bad thing in any way. But comparing this show to most other pieces of like animated media today, certainly you can see that there was a lot more effort being put into making this show look very visually appealing compared to most of its other contemporary shows in its medium. The show is very warm. What I really like about this show is that most children's cartoons today, I think, or at least just cartoons that are made for a younger audience, tend to have these very saturated colors that kind of blind my eyes. I know they're supposed to be bouncy and eye-catching, especially to the age of their audience. But one thing that I like, at least about a show like Arlo, is the fact that colors are a lot warmer, they're a lot cooler, and the colors are less saturated. And it works really well with the whole show because I guess you're supposed to think that these characters are real, and the whole colors just fit into the world because it looks very natural. It looks like how real world colors look like. Do you get what I'm saying? The lighting and the whole atmosphere, visual atmosphere of every scene in the show and the movie is amazing. The environment complements the emotions being felt through the scene. And there is some vibrance to it all, but at least it doesn't hurt my eyes like 13-year-old Tumblr art. Just on a side note, because I know that people will bring this up, I'm not hating on bright colors. I'm just saying that I would like to see more shows without a saturation filter over every scene. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe that's just my aesthetics. moving on to the next thing that I want to talk about, the writing. I'll be honest here, I really like the writing of this show, but I do feel there are some things that certainly need improvement. One issue that I had with the movie is that I felt the pacing was kind of rushed. And this isn't only me, at least other people who have watched the movie, at least that I know of, said that they thought it was too short. And I have to agree with that because personally for me, I would have liked to have a longer introduction to all of the characters. See longer interactions between each character. Not only that, but also learn the personal backstories of all of these characters. Really, the only character who we know a lot of backstory about is Arlo. His best friend Birdie used to be like I guess a circus freak, but that's really most of what we know of her. And the rest of his other friends are just kind of like the band of misfits, right? They get into trouble and they ride on a van, and that's about it. Because personally for me, I thought that the movie was more of an introduction to these characters, and I want to see the deeper aspects of them. Just to give a brief example, Alia is a personal favorite of mine. What is her backstory? She seems to be about the same age as Arlo. Where what happened to her parents, right? Why is she just like with this band of misfits and she's their driver, but she doesn't really know how to drive? That's kind of a joke. In the show, it's shown that she obviously has some type of like ADHD. She has concentration issues. There was a whole episode about that. Aside from all that, I think the writing in the show is actually pretty good. It's a typical story of be yourself regardless of what other people think about you. It teaches the basic life lessons that any other, I think, kids program would teach, and it does so very well. So I don't technically have problems with the writing. I just want there to be an improvement in pacing. I think episodes can still be wacky and crazy, but they can be slower. But then again, this is a kids program. Why am I saying this? Ooh, also another thing that maybe I should mention before I end this. Arlo's father abandoned him when he was little. And at the end of the movie, technically, it's like, haha, we forgive you. You did an oopsie. Everybody does oopsies, right? That doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're forgiven. And I'm gonna tell you that I did not like that. I get that it's a children's movie, right? But you can't just abandon your son for like, what was it, like 12, 13 years? And still kind of pretend, oh, he's not really my son because you're ashamed of him. And then at the end, you'll discover, wait a minute, he is my son and I shouldn't be ashamed of that. And then you accept your son and then happy ending for both of you. You can't just do that. Which is why I liked it in the show that there was an episode where Arlo's father started to show more of his fatherly instincts, even if there were bird instincts because he's part bird. I mean, that's kind of how it works, right? A half a bird, a person can have an alligator son, that's just how it works. But this episode really made me have a change of heart towards Arlo's father. Because in full honesty, I did not like how the movie ended that way. I wanted Ansel to prove that he was a good father. And he certainly did. Props to the show on that. I'm just gonna end this segment. The writing is good. There's drama, there's comedy. Fix your pacing. And last, but not least, the thing that I wanted to most talk about in this review, the soundtrack. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, both this movie and the show are musicals. Now, normally when you think of like kids musicals, most people don't have the like highest of expectations for them. That being said, I absolutely love the Arlo the Alligator Boy soundtrack. Personally, I think I like the movie soundtrack more than the show's soundtrack. There's quite a lot of uplifting songs in both the movie and the show, but I would also like to mention that I think that these soundtracks are also very moody. There's quite a lot of moody songs in both the movie and the show. But let me tell you something. Michael Woodard, who's the voice actor of Arlo, absolutely kills it on every song that he's on. Seriously, listen to the soundtrack. This guy has like, unironically, a Michael Jackson level of amazing voice. Now, I'm not saying that, if somebody's gonna point this out to me, I'm not saying that because he's black. Because honestly, I didn't even know that he was black until I actually looked up who was the cast of this show. I thought he was some like 16-year-old white kid who just happened to have that amazing of a voice. And then I look up online to see what he actually looks like, and I'm still quite impressed at his vocal talent. He certainly has a lot more vocal talent than me. Huge props to you, Michael. You might have not won American Idol, I think it was the show that you were on. But the fact that you're the voice actor of the main character of the show, you're winning. Of course, the most impressive song in the movie is the duet of Follow Me Home. It was also the lead single, but I highly, highly recommend that if you want to see a very impressive, visually impressive, and also impressive in terms of the song scene from the movie, I highly recommend that you look up the Beyond These Walls scene. You will not be disappointed. At least I hope you won't. The show's soundtrack is okay to me. I just don't have that many interesting things to say about the show's soundtrack. Personally, for me, there's not as many memorable songs that stuck to me from the show, but I'm still quite impacted by the movie's soundtrack. So let's head on to our final verdict. My final verdict is that Arlo the Alligator Boy is a great show. Or great show and the movie. Both the show and the movie are great. Sure, there are still some things that I think need to be improved upon. Especially the pacing, as I mentioned in this video. But if you're a young person who is very artistic and you're the like type of person who's always like scrolling on Twitter or like, I don't know, DeviantArt, and just like to stare at other people's creations, their OCs, just how amazing they are, and it inspires you. I think this show is you will especially like it. If you're an animation nerd and you want to look up some like great TV at the moment, something moody but also something very comforting, this show is definitely for you. You're a fan of musicals, go ahead. This show has a lot of potential, and I hope that the crew realizes that. And even though I can't predict the future, I hope that if they use that potential correctly, this show might become a classic of the next generation. To end this video, I Heart Arlo. You should too. And now if y'all excuse me, I gotta go pee.